everyone, this is Emi Samoe, and I would like to thank you so much for tuning in once again today. So, we are continuing a conversation that we started last week, and I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. So, last week we talked about letting go of resentment. And in letting go of resentment, we talked about identifying our emotions and allowing ourselves to feel them. And in identifying them, we acknowledge them, not deny them or explain them away. We're not trying to endure them, neither are we trying to avoid them. We are expressing them and not repressing them. So, this week we're gonna talk about listening to the messages that our emotions or those difficult emotions could be telling us. Every emotion, every emotion and feeling is meaningful, and it's our responsibility to listen to them if we are working on getting healthy and resolving our conflicts. Okay, so some of the feelings that we talked about, emotions that resentment triggers, were fear, worry, anxiety. We talked about guilt, abandonment, feelings of frustration, depression, regret, embarrassment, and just to name a few. So these feelings and emotions are meaningful. They could carry a message. They could be telling us something, or they are telling us something about what's going on inside us. And for me, some of these feelings have carried any of the following messages. Sometimes fear, when I feel fearful, sometimes the message could be that I'm hurt. Sometimes when I'm feeling maybe anxiety or worry, or when I'm feeling angry, the message that the anger is carrying is that my rights are being violated. Another message is that could be wrong. You know, fear perhaps could be telling me to pay more attention because something is wrong. Or sometimes the message could be, hey, your values are being violated or compromised. Or it could be the fact that, I'm giving too much, more than I can afford. So, after we learn or after we listen to these messages, what are we supposed to do? Of course, these feelings, fear, worry, anxiety, to name a few, they are not the easiest feelings to carry around. They are not the best feelings to feel. They are very challenging, or they could be challenging, especially when they are intense or when we are in the heat of the moment. And just because they are difficult really doesn't mean that we can manage them. It is possible to manage these emotions. And, you know, any meaningful growth requires stress and challenge. So, hey, any growth or any happiness, we got to pay a price, right? Pay a price of growth. Last week we talked about growing an emotional muscle. So, listening is part of that. Listening is a step. So one of the ways to deal with a challenge is, or to resolve a challenge, is to ask yourself, what's the next best step? So let me put this all in context by giving you a scenario, and this is just a scenario. So if you know someone like that and you think I know them, it doesn't. It's not. I'm not talking about them. Okay. So this is just a scenario, and you know, um, you could customize this to help you. Okay. My purpose is to share things that have helped me. My purpose of talking with you is to help you, and my purpose is to help you grow. So that, and my purpose also is to help myself grow. As I talk about these things, I also grow. So I hope you will find something that clicks and you can help yourself with it. Okay. So this is the scenario. So perhaps after many years, or after so long, thinking that there is something wrong or seeking answers, or after many years of suffering, it has finally clicked, or it has finally dawned on you that your mother doesn't have the capacity to love you in the manner that you understand love, or your mother is not able to love you the way you need love, or perhaps they have never made you feel loved or valuable. Whew, that's heavy, right? Just talking about it makes me feel, oh my God, that's heavy. This could be a very difficult realization, and it could trigger a whole range of emotions, and it doesn't have to be your mother. Just like I said, customize it. So it would trigger a few feelings or a few emotions that I can think of. You could feel really rejected. You could feel worthless. You could feel fearful. You could be you could be thrown into a spin of identity crisis. You could feel very isolated because you're interpreting these messages, perhaps this message specifically, to mean that there's something fundamentally wrong with you, because if my mother can't love me, then that means there's something wrong, right? And it's so understandable to feel that way. Or you could feel really worthless. And now, because you're feeling so isolated, you could feel a sense of isolation so intensely that you make a decision that, and it could throw you to being very lonely. And you make a decision that because you're feeling that kind of loneliness, that you promise yourself that you're never gonna be alone. And therefore, you seek, or you continually are in relationships and are never alone. You put yourself in relationships at any cost, with anyone, anybody, at any cost, so you never have to experience that kind of isolation again. And if you're feeling worthless because perhaps your mother never made you feel loved or valuable, perhaps you make a decision on a flight mode. You respond on a flight mode, and you go ahead on a spin of looking for validation anywhere and from anybody. And you are entering into relationships just for validation everywhere, or throw yourself into an identity crisis, and then you are so enmeshed in relationships and we are not able to tell who you really are. And this is because your response is because you have the belief that you cannot support the feelings that you are experiencing. It's because you're feeling that you have to seek outside support because of how you feel. And in real sense, really, you have to trust yourself that you can go through this and you can support yourself because you have the ability to. And sometimes those feelings of validation, especially from a parent, are just needs of a child. And now that you're an adult, you really don't need that validation to survive or to thrive even. You don't need it to thrive. And therefore you're still tapping into the child in you. So you could go into the flight mode, while in actual sense is you can look within, because the answers are all in here. It is nobody's responsibility, not even a mother. You are idealizing it. You're idealizing your close relationships, so they should be A, B, C. No one person is responsible of how you should feel. No one person should give you validation to be happy. You are responsible for your own happiness, and you can give yourself that validation. You can validate yourself. It's your responsibility to validate yourself. So the message is you have the ability to validate yourself. And the message is not to seek other people's validation. So today, while I was preparing for this, I came across a story in Humans of New York, a wonderful story that really resonated with what we are going to talk about, what we're talking about. So this man is recently divorced, and this is his story. I was married for 25 years and had 5 children, but I allowed myself decisions based on emotional glitches. I had affairs, but they were affairs of the hurt. I had a hunger to see myself as a great man in someone else's eyes. So someone else came along and made me feel something special. It's like a catnip. You want more of it, but in the end, it's just a feeling. I wish I hadn't chased it. So this is someone who is seeking validation because of a past pain, perhaps based in childhood, or maybe someone that he idealized. So, um, if you really don't deal with those problems, you might end up like this person. You might end up seeking and seeking and seeking. If somebody is not giving you love, or if somebody is not giving you what you're looking for, they probably don't have it. People are human beings and they have their own pain, they have their own bruises. So if you're seeking and seeking and seeking and they're not giving you, that's a hint right there that they don't have it. And it's possible that they don't. So it's time to take time out and just stop seeking things from people that don't have those things, and give them to yourself, because you have everything it takes to be happy. You have everything it takes to thrive. And there are multiple sources. If one person doesn't have it, another person has it. But you can be in a marathon, or you can be, seeking, 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 seeking. Okay? So, in our conversation today and last time, I would like for us to take 3 points or 3 lessons from these conversations. Number 1 is that you cannot control the actions or how people treat you, but you're still responsible of your thoughts, of your feelings and actions. Lesson number 2, what you don't deal with deals with you. And lesson number 3, don't spend too much time thinking about the person that hurt you. Think of the next best step and work on it, because you can do it. You can do it. You have to trust yourself that no matter what happens, you're gonna pull through. No matter what happens, you have the strength, you have the ability to pull through. And I'd like to conclude this talk with a quote that I read online that I really liked. And it said, do not let anyone rent space in your head unless they are a good tenant. Thank you so much for spending the time watching this until the end. I appreciate it very much, and thank you for sending me the messages from last week. I appreciate it very much. I hope you have a wonderful week, and may God bless your souls wherever you are. Thank you.